Spirit just released their first wave of their animatronic lineup for 2025, and it's pretty bad. Hi, my name is Cryptid Cat. I like collecting Spirit Halloween animatronics. I love all things Halloween and horror. And today I'm going to be giving my thoughts and kind of hopping on the bandwagon of the Spirit Halloween, their first animatronics reveal for the 2025 season, and it ain't looking good. Alright, so we're on the Spirit website right now, and we're gonna start with the worst of the worst from this lineup so far. And that is Two-Faced Teddy. Now, just looking at it before we look at the video demo, we can tell he was supposed to release initially with the 2024 lineup, just based on the Carnival background. This is the same backdrop they used last year. I don't know why he ended up being delayed, but there's that. And he's so bad. The only good thing, the only positives is he's 6 feet tall, so okay, average animatronic height. Okay, and I do like the color scheme. I do like the orange and black. We don't see that with a lot of animatronics. Other than that, this is horrendous, and we're gonna watch the demo. What the actual fuck was that? I have no words. I think this animatronic might actually be worse than Dark Princess, and I have thoughts about Dark Princess. Holy shit. He is literally just a reskin of Poor George. If he had legs and instead of flipping over, his head turned and his voice kind of sounds like Heckles. That's it. This gets, I don't think anyone should buy this. This is bad. This is really bad. But let's move on. Alright, 6 foot night owl. Now, I will preface this that, my boyfriend at Spooky Steve, Michigan, he has already purchased this. We plan on turning it into a custom Mothman animatronic, and we will be using it for our haunt. But, visually, he looks pretty good. I will say that. They used the same base as Wanda from last year. You can tell with the legs. I just think he looks really good. Kind of like a gargoyle. I think it could have probably been cooler if they did a gargoyle, but I'm not going to complain about the owl. My main thing, though, is this isn't on theme whatsoever. I thought we were doing a city, underground subway theme. Meanwhile, this is giving very much cemetery. Alright, let's get to the demo. Some good audio. Some really good audio. Oh, it changes to screeching. I like how it has the variety in audio, and I do like the wing flapping animation. I think it's just the right speed, and I do think it looks very visually appealing. Again, my main gripe is, this isn't on theme. Same with Poor George. Not Poor George, Two-Faced Teddy. Is that he's not on theme for this year. He's Carnival themed. It doesn't make sense. Electrified Corpse, I'm just going to mention, I'm not going to really go over because he's a re-release. No complaints there. He was a good prop when he originally came out. I'm sure he's going to be just fine this year. And then Mutant Sewer Rat, I already have some thoughts about this. Visually, I think he looks very appealing, and he is our first animatronic to be on theme this year. I will give them that. I think he looks awesome. His head sculpt is amazing. There's really good attention to detail too. I love the creepy cloth all over the body, the tail, the feet, the hands. It looks disgusting, and I love it. My gripe is, if you look right here, hard to tell in the stock images, but that is a 4'2" animatronic. I am 5 feet tall, which is considered very short. This animatronic is the same size as my 7-year-old cousin. I think my 7-year-old cousin might actually be taller than this, which doesn't make sense, especially for $230. You couldn't have given me like at least 5'5" for $230, but let's get to the demo. Okay. I think the head might be latex. It looks like solid plastic, but like some of the area around the mouth is moving and it looks like latex. I'm not sure. I'll have to see when people start getting this in because it's not something I'm going to purchase. But, that's pretty much my thoughts there. I think the audio is fine. I just don't think in the demo it syncs up very well. That's pretty much my thoughts. And then the last drop that we got was the Nun. And let me tell you, the Nun is gorgeous. Best animatronic in this lineup so far. They did an amazing job. Her face is perfect. She looks scary. And good on Spirit for creating something scary for once. But let's go to her demo because I've already viewed it, but her demo is really where it's at. She's just a very good jump scare. I think this would work very well in a haunt. Yeah, no complaints for her. And because she's licensed, she's gonna get a pass from the theme. Any licensed props that come out, because I know we're getting a couple, because I know Santa Art's one of them. Allegedly, I think we're getting a Trick or Treat new Sam. I'm not completely sure. But any licensed props immediately get a pass from the theme because I don't count that. Because, again, it's a licensed prop. But yeah, she's $300, which I would honestly say is worth it. Mutant Sewer Rat, I would say, is not worth the $230 price for that height. Alex Tried Corpse, I'd say $150 is pretty fair. $250 for the Night Owl isn't bad. Would I pay that much? No. But my boyfriend did, so. Who am I to complain? And then Two-Faced Teddy is $130, which he's garbage either way. Like, I don't care if the price is technically good for what it is. He's garbage. He's absolute trash, and you should not buy it. But that's pretty much the lineup so far. I've seen some other leaks, and I have some thoughts. So, I'll say more when it officially comes out, but my biggest thing with Spirit this year, before I get into this, is I don't think they're going to be making much of a profit, which makes me very scared for 2026. Because Spirit already had delays and issues because of the whole tariff situation, which granted is pretty much resolved by now, but it was a scary time and companies didn't know what to do, so Spirit had to prepare and figure stuff out, which is why I think half of this lineup is rehashed shit. Outside of Electrified Corpse, I think the only two re-releases actually that are justified are Art the Clown, the original variant, and I almost said Jack and Sally, Victor and Emily. Victor and Emily was a good choice for Spirit to bring back because not only did they sell super well last year, but Lowe's also released their dog shit Nuki versions this year, so Spirit probably wanted to compete with that, which is a great marketing move. And art they brought back, I think, just because the Terrifier train is very hot right now, and it's very popular, especially, again, because Santa art is part of the lineup. The only thing I don't understand is why they're having both arts in the ISE this year. It's weird and it doesn't make sense, and again, I think it's because Spirit needed space, because they didn't have a bunch of new stuff to release this year because of everything. But, I think art should have been an online exclusive and Santa art should have been in store. That's just my opinion. Again, Spirit's gonna be losing money this year because so far it's not looking good. Home Depot and like Sam's and everyone else released all their shit. Home Depot, once again, leaving us all flabbergasted with their releases. Home Depot's doing an amazing job. They are beating Spirit in their game, and I just do not understand why Spirit doesn't want to compete with that, because they're losing money. Like, Spirit has already been struggling for a while with the rise of online shopping. People barely buy their Halloween costumes from Spirit anymore unless it's like super niche or last minute, because it is expensive. As a cosplayer, majority of Spirit costumes are not worth their price. They aren't. It is absolutely ridiculous, and people are aware of that because they'll go to Amazon instead. Parents don't want to spend $60 on a costume that their kid is gonna wear once and then donate. They just won't. Adults will, but kids won't. Like, even my shorty costume, which I think is over $60 retail. I have the female shorty costume, which I love. I think the quality is actually pretty good for what it is. But even then, that wasn't purchased until a few days after Halloween when everything was severely discounted. But I think Spirit's biggest downfall this year, and where they really messed up, is with Young He. I have nothing to complain about with Squid Games. I saw season 1 when it initially released, and I really liked it. I have not seen season 2, and I just found out season 3 existed. The problem with Squid Games is their advertising and the timing. Season 1 was perfect. It was very hyped up, everyone was talking about it. People were making like a bunch of like parody shit on YouTube. There were bootleg toys, it was everywhere. However, despite that, Spirit sold Halloween costumes, and they sold like shit. Again, because they were expensive and overpriced, and no one cared that much about Squid Games. However, with season 2, there were more issues. Because we knew season 2 was coming. The timing of everything with season 2 was weird, and that's where I'm going to bring in another hobby of mine, which is Monster High. Now, I do own the Young He collector doll. You can actually, despite her like being originally released like 6 months ago, you can still buy her for $65 on the Mattel Creations website. But no, I have her, and she is a gorgeous doll. I love her. But there was a lot of backlash with this doll because people were wondering just why. Out of like everything, just why. Doesn't really make sense. Because when this doll was released, the season 2 trailer had not dropped yet, and no one knew anything. And however, I was anticipating it at the time, but again, it was weird. They were dropping merchandise, but there was no hype for season 2. It was odd, because I had worked at Box Lunch / Hot Topic, and I remember, because I was a manager there, and I was doing shipment. And I remember just one day my shipment was just full of like a bunch of Squid Game apparel, and me and my coworkers were all like, this was like a thing like 3 years ago, like why are we suddenly getting merch from this now? Like this isn't gonna sell. And lo and behold, 3 months later is when season 2 dropped, but again, no hype. Even with season 3 I think is the worst of it. There was no talk or advertising at all. I did not know season 3 even existed until I was scrolling my Instagram reels at 2 in the morning during my nightly doom scroll, as one does, and I saw someone talking about it. Which is bad. But back to the topic of Spirit. $700 for an animatronic of a franchise no one really gives a shit about is crazy. Mind you, Slim, when he dropped, caused an uproar. Despite Killer Clowns from Outer Space being a very well-beloved franchise, people were pissed because of his price. People did not think Slim was worth his price, which I think he was either $400 or $450. This is before I started collecting. But I know because of that price point, there was a huge uproar about it, and people were mad, and people didn't think he was worth it. Despite the fact, Killer Clowns is like a very popular IP. It's very well loved. Now just think now, almost double that price for something that doesn't really have a fan base. And on top of that, with who is in the fan base, I don't think it overlaps with the Haunter community at all. It doesn't make sense. And on top of that, I know there's going to be bitching from a lot of people. Unlike the Nun and like Victor and Emily, you can't utilize Young Hee in a haunt. Number one, she's fucking massive. But number two is, how are you going to utilize her? Like, it would have to be Squid Game thing. Like, she can't just be on her own or it doesn't make sense. The Nun, for example, you could create like a whole scene out of it and pair her with other animatronics and she'd look really good and really stand out. Young Hee, you can't. Because she's niche. So I think Spirit is going to be losing a lot of money. I don't think anyone is going to be buying this animatronic because of both the price and the fact no one cares. I think the only people who will be buying this animatronic are those who either get sent it by Spirit to review, B, people who glaze Spirit for everything and have to have everything from every lineup, and 3, those child haunters who are like 10 with rich ass parents who buy them fucking everything and have warehouses for their animatronics. That's it. The regular haunter is not going to be buying Young Hee, which is a shame because she does look, just based on the leaks I've seen, amazing. I love her, but not that much. It doesn't make sense. So overall, I think Spirit will be operating at a loss this year unless they somehow pull something out of their ass last minute. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to continue making more videos as stuff gets officially released. I'll do some very similar format to this. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe and follow my Instagram. I talk more on my Instagram. That's where I'm the most active. But yeah.